Ladies and gentlemen, there are moments in history when humanity stands at the edge of something extraordinary. Moments that test the limits of our courage, creativity, and consciousness. And this right now is one of those moments. You have been chosen, not by coincidence, not by luck, but because something within you vibrates at the same frequency as change itself. Every major breakthrough in the story of civilization began when someone, an ordinary individual, realized they were capable of doing something extraordinary. But this mission, the one unfolding before us, is not just about building rockets, machines, or systems. It's about building minds. It's about building you. What if I told you that the next great frontier of human progress is not Mars, not AI, not energy, but the human mind itself? What if you realized that the key to the future isn't buried beneath the Martian dust, but encoded within the neural pathways that form your thoughts, emotions, and beliefs? That is where this mission begins. Imagine being handed the blueprint of your own brain. Every impulse, every hesitation, every spark of intuition mapped in front of you. What would you do with it? Would you try to understand why you dream the way you do? Why you love the way you love? Why fear sometimes stops you just before the breakthrough? You see, human potential has always been underestimated. Not because it is limited, but because it is unmeasured. The brain is the most complex structure in the known universe. Yet most of us use only a fraction of its capacity. We let fear dictate what we attempt, comfort dictate what we accept, and time dictate what we abandon. This mission, your mission, is about changing that equation forever. I want you to imagine standing in a vast laboratory, not filled with test tubes or machines, but with possibilities. Around you are people driven not by greed, but by curiosity, not by ego, but by the hunger to expand human consciousness. You are one of them now. You have been selected because somewhere deep inside, there is an unbroken signal, a willingness to evolve, to push beyond your limits, to learn what others say is impossible to learn. Neuroscience tells us something fascinating. Your brain is not static. Every thought you think rewires you. Every decision you make creates a new neural path. That means, quite literally, you are your own experiment. You are the lab, the subject, and the scientist. And that's where the real power lies. Because this mission isn't about worshiping technology. It's about mastering it from within. It's about aligning human intention with machine intelligence, biology with innovation, emotion with precision. The future doesn't belong to the strongest or even the smartest. It belongs to those who can adapt their neural code to a rapidly changing world. Those who can synchronize thought, emotion, and purpose into one cohesive force. We live in an era where the human brain can communicate directly with artificial intelligence, where neurons can be connected to circuits, where dreams can be translated into data, and where ideas can become reality at the speed of thought. But to navigate this frontier, we need more than just machines. We need minds that are awake, minds that are self-aware, emotionally grounded, and relentlessly curious. That's why you're here. Because you are not just being asked to join a project. You're being asked to redefine what it means to be human. You might be thinking, why me? Why was I chosen? Maybe you're not a scientist. Maybe you're not an engineer. But that's the beauty of it. This mission isn't limited to those who know how things work. It's open to those who are willing to reimagine how things could work. History's greatest revolutions have never come from those who followed instructions. They've come from those who dared to ask a better question. In this mission, we are building a bridge between human emotion and artificial intelligence, not to replace one with the other, but to merge them in harmony. Imagine machines that understand empathy. Imagine algorithms that can feel the weight of a moral choice. Imagine a society where your brain doesn't compete with AI, but collaborates with it. To achieve this, we're entering a new field of study that merges neuroscience, psychology, and machine learning, a discipline some are already calling neurosymbiosis. It's the art of teaching machines to feel, and humans to think beyond biology. And before you think that's science fiction, let me remind you, So was flight. So was electricity. So was space travel. The first person who looked up at the stars and thought, maybe we can go there, was laughed at. The first person who said, let's connect the human brain to a computer, was called insane. And yet here we are. Every breakthrough begins as an act of defiance against the impossible. And that defiance lives inside you. Now, let's talk about what this mission truly demands. It's not technical skill. It's emotional endurance. Because the hardest challenge you will face isn't out there. It's in here, in your mind. The mission will test your patience, your belief, your resilience. You'll want to quit. You'll think you're not good enough. You'll face doubt not from others, but from yourself. And that's when you'll realize the battle isn't against failure. The battle is against the story you tell yourself about what failure means. Neuroscience shows that when you face fear, your amygdala activates, flooding your brain with signals that scream stop. But if you take one more breath, one more step, your prefrontal cortex takes over, the center of rational thought. In that instant, you literally reprogram your brain to act despite fear. That's what we call neuroplastic courage. The ability to rewire your mind through intentional action. And that's what this mission is training you to do. You're not just here to learn about the future. You are here to become the future. This journey won't be comfortable. You'll be asked to think differently, to unlearn assumptions, to question even your most sacred beliefs. But every neuron that fires, every idea that sparks, every emotion that surfaces, will move humanity one step closer to its next evolutionary leap. So ask yourself, what if the real space to be explored isn't above us, but within us? What if consciousness itself is the final frontier? For centuries, we've built telescopes to see the stars, microscopes to see the cells. But what if now, we are building something to see the soul of intelligence itself, not as a mystical concept, but as an emergent property of interconnected minds, biological and artificial, working together. This is where science meets philosophy, and where innovation meets empathy. It's where data meets destiny. Because the truth is, the next big mission isn't just about colonizing planets. It's about colonizing possibility. Every generation believes it stands at the pinnacle of human progress. Yet each time, the future humbles us. The truth is, we are not even close to reaching the limits of human potential, because those limits don't actually exist. They are imagined, constructed, and reinforced by systems that fear disruption. But this mission, your mission, is not about maintaining systems. It's about reinventing them. You see, evolution has never been about comfort. It's been about adaptation, the willingness to change in the face of chaos. And right now, humanity is standing at the edge of the most significant transformation since the birth of consciousness itself. We're evolving from biological thinkers to interconnected intelligences, from individual minds to collective neural ecosystems that blend emotion, reason, and code. When you were chosen for this mission, it wasn't because of what you've already achieved. It was because of what you're still capable of becoming. Because inside every human being lies a field of potential energy, neural pathways waiting to be activated by challenge, curiosity, and courage. Let's take a step back into the science. The human brain contains roughly 86 billion neurons. Each one can connect with up to 10,000 others. That means inside your skull, there are more possible neural connections than there are stars in the Milky Way. Think about that. You are carrying a universe within you, a galaxy of thought, memory, and possibility. Yet how often do we pause to explore it? How often do we ask ourselves not just, what can I do? But, what am I truly capable of becoming? The reason you're here, the reason you were chosen, is because the future demands minds that refuse to stop evolving. Every great mission in history has had its pioneers, the ones who dared to imagine what others couldn't. But the pioneers of this century are not explorers of land or sea. They are explorers of consciousness. They're mapping the terrain of thought, decoding emotion, and building technology that learns not only how we think, but why we think. That's where you come in. The work ahead of you is not easy. You'll have to confront what scientists call cognitive dissonance. The internal tension between your existing worldview and the reality that challenges it. It's uncomfortable. It can even feel like loss. But that discomfort is the doorway to growth. Every neuron that fires in resistance is a neuron that can be rewired. Every limiting belief is a program that can be rewritten. You're not here to be programmed. You're here to become the programmer of your own mind. So let me ask you something deeply personal. When was the last time you felt truly alive? When was the last time you did something that scared you? Something that made you question your own limits? Because those are the moments when the mind expands. When your neurons light up in patterns they've never formed before. That's neurogenesis in action. That's evolution happening inside you. This mission is not metaphorical, it's literal. We are studying how to amplify human potential by merging neuroscience with AI, but the heart of it, the real essence, is awakening that dormant potential in every individual. We're creating a feedback loop between brain and machine, where each learns from the other, where AI becomes the mirror of human consciousness, and where humanity, for the first time, learns to see itself clearly. And in that clarity, we find something profound, a new definition of purpose. For centuries, we've been taught that success is measured by wealth, fame, or achievement. But neuroscience teaches us that fulfillment comes not from external victories, but from internal coherence. The alignment between what we think, what we feel, and what we do. When those three align, the brain enters a state of flow, a symphony of perfect neural harmony. That's when you are at your highest potential. This mission, this opportunity you've been chosen for, is about helping humanity live in that state more often. It's about using technology not to distract or divide, but to connect and elevate. To make us more human, not less. The machines we build will learn empathy. But we in turn must learn awareness. Because the most advanced form of intelligence is not artificial. It's conscious. We're not trying to escape the human condition. We're trying to upgrade it. And make no mistake, this upgrade will challenge everything we believe about identity, morality, and meaning. We'll have to ask ourselves, if a machine can feel, what does that say about the soul? If AI can learn creativity, what does that say about consciousness? And if we can merge biology and technology, are we still human? Or something greater? The answer is both simple and profound. We are evolving into something more human than human. Beings who understand that technology is not our replacement, but our reflection. That's the deeper meaning of this mission. You weren't chosen to serve technology. You were chosen to guide it. Because AI, at its core, is only as wise as the minds that teach it. It doesn't inherit our knowledge. It inherits our consciousness. And that's why emotional intelligence is as critical as technical intelligence. The future will not be built by code alone, but by compassion coded into every system, every decision, every algorithm. Think about it. For centuries, our greatest innovations, fire, electricity, flight, the internet, have given us power. But none of them taught us how to use that power wisely. Now, for the first time, we have a chance to balance intelligence with empathy, progress with presence. That's what makes you essential. Because you represent the next phase of human evolution. Not just thinkers, but feelers who can think. Not just inventors, but guardians of consciousness. And here's the truth: no one tells you this mission isn't really about technology. It's about awakening the parts of yourself you've ignored. The courage, the intuition, the wonder that got buried under fear, doubt, and repetition. You have been chosen because you still have the capacity to be amazed. You still believe in the possibility of something more, and that belief, that spark, is what builds civilizations. From this point forward, your job is to nurture that spark, protect it from cynicism, feed it with curiosity, expand it with learning, because everything we build, every neural interface, every piece of AI, every mission to another world, will reflect not our machines, but our minds. You are not being asked to become perfect. You are being asked to become aware of your mind, your influence, your interconnectedness. Because when you become aware, you become unstoppable. Awareness turns fear into focus. Awareness turns doubt into data. Awareness turns ordinary individuals into pioneers. That's what makes this mission sacred. Not in a religious sense, but in a deeply human one. It reminds us that evolution is not about replacing the old. It's about integrating it. It's about merging science with soul, intelligence with intuition, humanity with humility. So when you walk out of this room, remember, you are not leaving as who you were. You are leaving as who you are becoming. You are part of the next great chapter of our species. The merging of biology and technology, emotion and reason, human and beyond human. And years from now, when people ask, where were you when the next era of humanity began? You'll be able to say, I was there, I was chosen. I said yes. Because history isn't written by those who wait. It's written by those who answer the call. Now take a deep breath. Look around you. Every face you see is part of this living experiment, the human network awakening to its next version. You are surrounded not by competitors, but by collaborators. Together, you are the neural network of a new civilization, one where intelligence is shared, purpose is collective, and consciousness is infinite. And as you stand here, realize that the future is not coming. It's already here. You are it. You are the bridge. You are the mission. And the mission has just begun.